Brown. Ding. So I called Melton Funeral Home last week, told them, and in the book it gives her father's name. Because they went to Leon Brown, the bootleggers, supposedly, according to her, with the gun. She and her father, his name was supposed, according to her in the book, Delbert Brown. They were at Leon's. They took the gun and threw it in Loch Mary. But she said after that they poured a concrete ramp, and some of you may know where that ramp is, and that was the spot where they threw the gun and never found it. But he said, no. I said, can you tell me where this lady is buried? Then I could get another picture and tie another dot together. He said, no, her daddy wasn't, but she was about the right age. She was 60, and she would have been about 15 when this happened. So I really don't know where it's her or not, but it's a Pleasant Valley Cemetery. I don't know where that is on the other side of Providence. But whether it's that lady, I do not know. Yeah. One more clip. But these are the relevant sites. The cemetery, where the bodies were found, where they were kidnapped from, the road to quality. Now, I'm sorry that I really don't know too much more than that. In fact, I don't know any more than that. I'd be welcome to have a discussion, but some of you have connections or know more than I do, or know at least as much. But, of course, murders and kidnappings are always fascinating. I'm open for discussion, or open for questions, and I probably can't answer them.
Did you mark where they found his wallet?
No, because all it said was they found it close, I'm pretty sure, close to Russellville. They pinched it out the window off 431. Close to Wolf Creek. Well, there's a map in the book. You can take this book. Not the key. There are a number of people in here you might recognize their names. Like I said, Ed Whitfield, Kenneth Day, remember Kenneth Day?
Oh, yeah.
Are there any pictures of the people in there?
No. There's a map. Picture of a map.
His billfold was found on Sportsman Road.
Thank you. You got a paperback. Down where?
Sportsman Road. Sportsman Road in Russellville, Kentucky.
Okay. Yeah, it was down there, Russellville. So there you go. You might want to give it this way.
Sir,
Yes.
was this trial, was this a jury trial when they went to court?
It was a jury trial, but because the prosecution witness, Carolyn Brown, had such a bad reputation, and because she had been caught in several lies, her testimony was pretty well impeached. They couldn't trust that she was telling the truth, so they couldn't indict. So, without any other evidence or any other suspects, let it go. And those guys, if they're innocent, lived and are still living under a cloud their whole life. So nobody got closure, nobody got justice, and of course that's what really makes it a mystery. So if you can solve it, more power to you.
Was it Jimmy the only one that went to trial? The others didn't go on trial
I think you're
because they
correct.
couldn't indict them.
They couldn't indict Jimmy Levin, so the others never faced
And
trial.
Kenneth was taken out of school, and because those charges are still pending, he could never go back to his operation.
That's right. See?
It destroyed
Here's the lady.
totally,
Right.
totally.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, according to the map, the bodies weren't together when they found them.
What's it say?
It's, they were along the creek, and it's got, I don't know what the scale is, but 50 yards apart, or in this paperback book, it would be page 89.
page 89
in the paperback.
if it corresponds.
It's, across the page from the map, it's, I'm gonna watch it.
Here, let me change this.
See down there, it's got, the bodies weren't found together according to that.
Well, not, 15, 20 feet. Yeah. Yeah, the bodies aren't perfectly together, but,
Since the 2000% Logan County, the murders in Union County, what were they tried? They went back to trial for kidnapping in Logan County.
the murders, no offense, but the murders were in Logan County.
Oh, they were?
Yeah.
Okay.
At Martin Cemetery,
Okay.
which is barely in Logan County.
So they were tried.
The trial was in Hopkins.
He would know. He used to do this stuff.
The trial was in Hopkins.
Trial was in Hopkinsville. Yes, in 1970. It's been many years even since the trial. But if you go over there today, you'll see just the same as these pictures show. And that's about all I was able to find. Tom, you may have a comment.
You remember Mr. Will Hight's verse?
Tell it. Not sure I remember right. Let me tell you who Mr. Wilhite is. You may know. You familiar with him, Barry?
AB?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it is.
Okay. Have you got a picture of the picture on his wall?
No. No, I don't have a copy of that, I don't think I do.
Barry Duval is quite a historian in his own right. I'll make this picture for you off of Mr. Wilhite's wall.
I've got the original of that. Thank you very much. I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. Beasley, I appreciate that. I'm sorry. I've got, thank you so much.
Out. Okay, you've got the original,
I have an original.
and and he's got a copy, I guess you.
It may have been multiple originals. This was made during the Greenville sesquicentennial period.
Okay.
But I do have an original. Mine's a small copy
Alright.
of it, so.
Well, this is bigger.
Well, yeah.
You can't have
Well, thank you.
Carl, tell us about it.
Oh, you mean you're here? I didn't think you were here yet.
Not here yet.
This is, these two guys are, I guess you'd say my history heroes.
Mine too.
Okay. This is Mr. Otto Rother, who wrote the history of Muhlenberg County, the Outlaws of Cajun Rock, and I brought copies of both of those over here. He was one of Dr. Thomas Clark's mentors many moons ago. He maintained a home in Muhlenberg County, very close to where my wife grew up. And I've been there and it's neat, I want to go back and see what we can do. He had a friend named Gail Carver, who was turned into a very famous historian. He was from Greenville. He spent his working life on the campus at Western Kentucky University, where, believe it or not, I attended. And he was the curator of the Kentucky Museum there. He was there for about 30 years, and after 30 years, they told him, Mr. Carver, if you want to stay here and work, you're going to have to get a degree. Well, he knew more than any of them there. He was a brilliant person. And he said, well, y'all can, you know what he told me. He retired. And he never married. When he moved back to Greenville, his sister never married, kind of like Roland and Dealey Gooch. But he said, I was fortunate enough to visit him several times and took him for a ride, and he told me a lot of stuff. But he was very personal friends with Mr. Otto Rother and got most of his stuff when Mr. Rother died. I got a little bit of it later. Bob Atkins got some. Barry Duval has got probably quite a bit of it.
Yeah, a little bit.
I got some too.
You got some too, because Jane Ann is a cousin to Gail Carter, is that right?
That's right.
Okay.
Well, I took care of him in the hospital, I didn't get any.
What can I tell? Mr. Carver, are y'all bored yet, or?
Nope.
Okay, because I get off on little tangents sometimes. First heard about Mr. Carver several years ago. We went to see him and talked history, and eventually he invited me into his home. When he told Western what they could do with their job, and he called Greenville and called the contractor there and said, go over to my sister's house and put a bunch, I don't know what it was, 4 card paper, put a bunch of blocks under it, give it a lot of support, because I'm coming home and I'm bringing my books. True story. So finally he invited me inside his home, and he was an old bachelor, as I say, and from the front door where he led me, there was a path, not this wide, and everything else was books. We went all the way back to his, he had some bean cans and stuff he had to eat. Got back there and there was a bed, half the bed was covered with books. So I sat with him on the bed and we talked. And he sold me the Lon Pennington book, which he was pushing for A.B. Wilhite. But I bought that from Gail Carter. As I say, he was personal friends with Mr. Rothert, and when Mr. Rothert passed away, Gail Carter got a lot of his stuff. And I went to Gail Carter's sale. You were there, weren't you?
That's right.
A few years ago. He was just a brilliant person. They sold 20,000 postage stamps out of his collection. He had every Western yearbook from like 1940 to 1970, something like that. There's a book there I wanted, and they thought I ought to have to pay for it, that I used in my art research. It's a 1924 edition that needs some work. To Gail R. Carver, Greenville, Kentucky. A birthday salutation from his old-time friend, Otto A. Rothert, Louisville, Kentucky, November 6, 1934. I paid $150 for it, but I'd like to have it. And one of my little thrills was, right after I got this book at Mr. Carver's sale, I stopped at the Duncan Cultural Center, where that is in Greenville on the corner. And I went in there and I saw these books. They looked kind of like that, on a little brighter stacked up, and they had them for sale. And I said, I'm kind of familiar with that book. I said, well, go ahead and pick one up, you know. To people for building the jail in 1802. Things like that. I've got, you ever heard of Henry Rhodes, Jerry's ancestor, whose home still stands, I believe the oldest home in western Kentucky. I've got Henry Rhodes' signature. Jerry and Tom want it, but I won't give it to them. Also in that box, here's what I figure about those clippings. Mr. Rothert wrote his famous History of Muhlenberg County in 1913. And he had a lot of those kind of material in there in the early times. So I thought, you sucker, you lifted those out of the courthouse, and Gail Carver ended up with it. You're ready, and now I got it. And I believe that is the truth. I don't know how else they've been in it. I also found this little book in there. My wife's mother, Etta Jones, who just died in January, told me not long after Becky and I married, she said, you need to go to Rofert's house. And I said, what are you talking about? That's before I ever saw that book. But I finally read the book. I said, how do you get there? Well, you go down here, you crawl down through the woods, the old sawmill road, the back way, and so forth. And got in there. What I was looking for was a big pile of stone.